What's going on?
Your refrigerator.
It is the gateway to hell. It is evil and the devil himself controls it. I didn't want to tell you before, Eileen, but the people that lived in your apartment before you, they disappeared. They left their car, their stereo, cash, Visa card, everything. And no one ever saw them again. Just gone.
Are you telling me that our refrigerator is possessed?
Welcome to Second Class Cinema, the show where we watch a B movie and immediately discuss. I'm Tom. I'm here with Brittany, Eric, and professional funny lady, Liz Cupertino.
Hello.
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 Liz, your first time guest. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks for coming. Tom, you might want to mention that my name is Liz Moniz.
All right, let's start over.
And not my God, you know anymore.
Oh, yeah, you're married now.
Because I just got married.
All right. I'll do it
so
all over
we're
again.
20 seconds into the episode.
She's been bought and sold, folks.
All right. So we're Liz Moniz now, and and today we watched The Refrigerator from 1991.
Yes.
Now, Liz, you were the one who told us about this movie. You mentioned this movie to us when we first started doing this a long time ago, that you wanted to watch this movie with us.
Yes, that is correct.
Yes. So
Been trying to get you on for a while.
Yes.
yes, that was a long time ago. So we watched it today. Why did we do that?
I watched this movie for the first time when I was about 9 years old on Sci-Fi with my dad. And it just always stuck out. We watched it in the middle of the night at like 5 a.m. And I don't remember why we were awake or why we were watching this. Especially now, looking back, now that I've viewed the movie again.
Yeah, very interesting movie to watch with your
Yes.
father. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so that's pretty good why. But before we get into the actual details of the movie, Liz, we're going to ask you the question that we ask everyone who comes on the show for the first time. What's your relationship with B movies? If it exists at all.
I've really only watched B movies with you guys because like we're all like really good friends in real life.
Yeah. We only usually ask our friends to come on.
Right.
Anyone else would be terrified.
Right. I've always watched B movies with you guys and it's always been a really fun time. So once I heard that you were doing a podcast on them, I really wanted to come on and do an episode with you.
Great.
Yeah,
Yes.
it only took 2 years.
Yeah, I was
Right.
We're approaching 2 years of this, so yeah.
Oh, that's bizarre.
It's crazy. It took us a long time to get you on, but I'm definitely glad we did.
Well, I am married with 2 children and things like that. So.
I heard of that show before.
Yes. Very good show.
Married with 2 children, the sequel to Married with Children.
Yeah, that's the one.
Starring Liz Moniz as Al Bundy.
Yeah.
Yes. It's true.
All right, so let's go into what The Refrigerator is about. Liz, take it away.
The Refrigerator is about a 1960s era vintage refrigerator / killing machine / demon,
Okay.
which is capable of possessing people into fucking in front of it.
That's what it's about?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean,
That's correct.
I guess that's not wrong.
I'm just going to add really quick. That's
Add some-
exactly what I have written down in my notes
No.
that I wrote during the movie.
That's amazing.
No, it definitely happened.
Right.
So that means that's what it's about.
Okay, so that was like the highest level overview possible.
Does anyone want to add a little more color, or are we satisfied? Eric?
Steve and Eileen are recent newlyweds who are moving away from somewhere in Ohio to the main streets of New York City, where they find an apartment for $200 a month. Which
That's
is
the most unbelievable part of this whole movie.
exactly. And when they move in, the refrigerator makes them act all funny, as Liz has mentioned. Jesus Christ, what is with these sirens? What is going on?
telling you.
We're going to have to just talk through it, and I'm just going to apologize for all the sirens. Everyone in Attleboro died today! It's been happening since like 8 in the morning! That sounds really good, actually. Oh my god!
It's just obnoxious.
All motherfucking day.
Okay, continue,
All right,
Eric.
so Steve and Eileen start acting really funny now that they moved into the apartment. And there's like this weird seer woman that's kind of warning them that they shouldn't be moving to the apartment. In fact, she literally says, "Don't move in. It's a warning," which is the level that we're working with here.
Oh, wait. Don't move in. What's that supposed to mean? It's a warning.
Where the characters explain their motivations directly to the viewer. And along the way, they start having like these weird dreams / hallucinations. Steve is acting like really strange and getting tied up in his work. And eventually Juan, their plumber / superintendent, comes to Eileen's rescue.
Yeah. Okay.
Juan is
Fantastic.
very dashing.
Yes.
We all liked Juan a lot.
Yes.
Great.
Can I add 2 details?
Please do.
Deets.
I would like to just add that there is an inexplicable South American influence to the movie, as well as gourmet cheese themes that are never
Explain.
yes, right, never established upon or anything of
Liz.
that nature.
It's a very expensive cheese.
Right.
Wait, Juan was from Bolivia,
Yes.
Yes.
so maybe that explains the South American theme.
Okay.
Okay.
Inexplicably, because
So-
he's a background character until like.
There's a Hispanic
end.
neighborhood.
It seems, there's a Hispanic neighborhood they moved into, so that one does. I get the flair.
And the only setup for the cheese we get is Steve's former boss telling him goodbye at his old job and being like, it's really rare that a man has your passion for gourmet cheeses.
And they were standing in a kitchen too, right?
Well, and what I don't understand is what Steve moved to New York and what he started to do. I don't know his new job besides eat doo-doo.
Yeah. It is his job to eat doo-doo.
It's his job to eat doo-doo, I guess.
You have to eat doo-doo from everyone here. It's your job. And that was spoken by my favorite credit in history, the doo-doo man.
That character was actually credited as the doo-doo man.
Okay, you clowns, cut the crap.
I'm going to preface this by saying that I barely wrote down any successes or failures for the entire movie because I was just in awe of it while watching.
Yeah, I will also admit that while I did write down successes, I didn't write down any failures.
Which is weird.
Same.
Okay, I have a combination failure success.
Oh, let's start there, and then we'll figure it out.
So, my failure, it takes far too long to get to any kind of real killer fridge action.
Agreed.
However, when the killer fridge action happens, it's fantastic.
Yes, we talk about these every so often. With the payoff, was it worth the build-up? In this case, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
We get to see a maintenance man eaten by a fridge and have a ridiculous amount of blood spray everywhere. Mm-hmm. We get a fridge... Well, no, we get a garbage can attack.
Yes.
Which is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. A man gets his leg cut off by a garbage can.
That was my favorite
Bitten
part.
We're going into favorite parts too early.
Ruining it all.
You know what? Let's edit that out. Forget you heard anything about a garbage can. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Actually, the fridge doesn't get to do all that much now that I think about it.
No.
That was how I felt. Like, for a movie called The Refrigerator, a surprisingly small amount of it was dedicated to the refrigerator.
Right.
I agree. I was expecting more like ominous shots of the fridge. They came later, but I was expecting them to be a little bit more peppered throughout. I mean, the movie started with a nice cold open. Get it? Because it's a fridge. It's a cold open.
You don't keep pepper in the fridge.
That's a good point too. We can make these all day long here.
You also don't keep waffle mix in the fridge.
Well, that's also something we should take into consideration and put that in the failure section.
We're all over the place.
We are.
I know.
But
Every once in a while, we get a movie like this, which is just really hard.
Can I throw something in though? I felt like
Throw something else into the mix.
Let me just throw this into the fridge.
to the waffle mix. Let's do it.
I felt like everything that was happening in the movie was happening around the refrigerator. Like it was like having an influence on all of the characters throughout the movie and their actions.
Definitely.
I agree.
Such as when the wife and husband moved into the apartment, the wife immediately became attracted to Juan.
We all became attracted to Juan.
Right.
Well, that didn't happen right away. At first, she was very frustrated with Juan, which I think grew into the attraction.
I forgot all about that part.
It's probably because he just kept coming into her apartment without knocking.
Right.
he only
Looking
does
like
that-
Rambo.
It's true.
Like, you're the super, I get it, but still
But
have
he's-
a respect for privacy.
It's true.
Yeah, but I mean, think of the charming lines such as "Don't kill me." Who wouldn't be turned on?
By Juan.
I'm the super and the plumber. Don't kill me. Honestly, the only plus that I wrote down for this movie was Juan.
Really?
Look.
That's what you thought was...
Definitely the best character.
Wow, it's true. She did. A lot of
Yeah.
favorite parts I see on that list.
There's two, but these are all just general plot
Oh,
notes.
gotcha.
Yeah.
But okay, so I mean, we are on successes. We did devolve a little bit here. I will throw out that I thought that overall the movie was pretty clever, pretty funny on purpose.
Yes.
Very
definitely.
successful at being a comedy first and a horror second.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
they made the decision that they wanted to be funny first, and then it's like kind of like gory silly second.
We
Yes.
have the budget to be comedy.
Yes.
We don't have the budget to be full on horror.
Exactly, but now the elements of horror that they did bring in, I appreciated much more because I knew I was watching something that was supposed to be funny. And I feel like this movie is kind of like halfway between movies like Girlfriend from Hell and Flesh Eating Mothers and Meet the Applegates. It's like right in the middle of that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it did have Applegate vibes.
Yeah, and it was really good like that. It was silly, and I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah, it's got like that really early 90s comedy sensibility where they're coming off the 80s where everything was like really spelled out and obvious, like in these kind of movies, and before things maybe got a little more abstract and surreal later on. Like, it's just in that weird area where they're trying to figure out how to do that sort of movie.
Yeah. And I mean, I also thought that in particular, I thought the intro, not like the cold open, but like the actual credit intro to separate the actual plot in the beginning, was also pretty clever because it was a credit sequence, but then they were also kind of showing you images of old refrigerator advertisements from like the 60s.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Norman Rockwell-esque
Yeah.
photos.
And I was like, all right, this is kind of cool. I think it framed me in a pretty good way and the expectation for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, I was a little thrown by it at first because I couldn't tell quite where it was going to land, but then it definitely did land more on the comedy side,
Yeah.
which I think was a good choice because they did not have a huge budget.
Yes, the budget as we read, $500,000, but I totally get it. I think they actually ended up doing a lot with that money. Anyone else for anything positive?
Anyone else?
Anyone else?
Basically, all of my notes were just things that happened in the movie that I really liked. That's what I put for successes, and it's just a gigantic list of either things people said or things that happened in the movie or things that I thought to myself while watching the movie.
Those all sound like favorite parts.
Yes,
And
yes.
I
So I'll
can't-
just hold off for
I
now then.
can't wait to get there.
We
but-
could just blanket this by saying that like the writing was inexplicably entertaining. It was not particularly good,
No.
but it was funny.
100%
I don't know if it was
entertaining.
intentional.
Yes.
Right.
I think most of it was probably intentional.
Yes.
Some of it probably wasn't, but it was hilarious anyway.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard to tell because like the quality of the acting
Yeah,
is such that you don't know if the writing is poor or the acting is poor.
true.
Like if it's just the fault of the acting. You know?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess, I guess we can talk about failures. Does anyone have anything that they didn't like?
There was some weird fucking editing in this movie.
Yes.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
there was a couple of times where we see crossfading between two portions of the same shot. And that is really weird looking. Like
Yeah.
she was talking on the phone and then it crossfades to her still talking on the phone and having the same conversation.
Yes.
And it's not like later in the conversation. She's still having the same conversation overall. It's really bizarre.
Yeah, I think that they misused that a couple times because there was a part where she says something like, you know what I want to do, and then it crossfades into like a whole party scene, and I was
Yes.
like, well, wait, what did you want to do?
Did you want to have a luau?
Do you want to have the luau? And then where'd you meet all these people?
Right, because they just moved to New York.
Yeah.
And they just inexplicably had like a gigantic party on their roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they didn't do a very good job of establishing any sort of timeline.
No, it was very poor at that.
Yes.
And it clipped along at like a weird pace, but still somehow felt like kind of drawn out.
This movie felt like hell.
That's
felt
where the refrigerator leads to. The
Yeah.
portal. It just leads to a universe where you watch the refrigerator over and over.
again. All right, so I mean, this is just strange. So I guess we can talk about favorite parts. Or
Wait, no, I have failure.
Yeah,
Oh.
I have failures too.
oh, we do have we have failures.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Sorry,
think
we got
did.
off.
This movie wasn't
we got
perfect.
off on another subject of failure. and
Okay.
then-
All right. Well, let's keep going.
I thought that there was barely any blood in this movie.
Mm.
We got that one scene where I don't even remember his name.
Paolo.
Paolo.
Paulo?
Yeah. Paolo dies, and that was like a lot of blood, but that was really it. Any other time anything happened, it was just like a flash of light and then it was over, which I did not appreciate. I thought it was going to be a little bit more ridiculous. But I also feel like there weren't a ton of swears in this movie,
No.
which is strange because I feel like it had enough blood to be like rated R.
Mm-hmm.
But
And it had straight up fucking
But
too.
then they didn't take advantage of any of the other R-rated features you could put in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. That didn't really make sense to me.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
I thought it needed more gore. I feel like it would have taken the comedic factor way higher, and it would have worked in its favor.
Okay.
Which sounds counterintuitive, but it's not.
Well, I mean, I feel like also coming from what Liz was saying earlier, she watched this when she was young. I feel like this movie can dupe a child into thinking it's safe to watch.
Yes.
Like, as a child, I would watch the beginning parts of the movie and maybe not understand it, but not feel, like, intimidated by this movie. And then it would fuck me up because of it by the end.
I think if I had seen this as a child, it would have made me feel weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like
So what did you feel like when you were 9?
See, I felt the exact opposite. I feel like when I was a child watching it, I felt like there was nothing wrong with it other than that it was like extremely over the top. But then as an adult, I felt very uncomfortable watching it, knowing that I had watched it as a young girl with my father in the middle of the night.
No. All right. So now, how much of this movie did you actually remember? And had you seen it at all in between now and then?
No. I only watched it that one time.
And then this time.
And all I remembered was that it was about a killer refrigerator. That's just always what stuck out.
So there's...
Makes sense.
Because sometimes when you watch a movie when you're a kid, there's always like a specific moment or a scene in a movie that'll stick with you through all the years. Did you have one of those?
Burrows into your brain and
Yeah.
scars you for life.
Yeah, we've had this conversation about Meet the Applegates, actually, coincidentally.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I think it would probably be the scene with the ghosts of the fridge victims walking into the illuminated hole where the fridge once stood.
Yeah.
The portal to Fridgeland.
Yeah, that always seemed
That sounds
very
much nicer.
strange to me. Yes.
true.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see how like that would be nightmarish as a kid. I feel like I would have grown up to be like, was that a fever dream I had, or was that something that I actually saw?
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So, Liz, you said you had some failures, too. Would you like to add?
Yes, I constantly felt that the movie was on the verge of an uncomfortable sex scene.
And then it only happened like twice.
I
Right.
do too, but honestly, I felt like there was sexual undertones where there shouldn't have been.
Yes.
Like when she was hugging her mom, every time they like pulled back, but they were
Yes.
like still embracing, I was like, are they about to make out right now?
Exactly. I thought they looked like they were in a passionate mother-daughter incestual embrace.
I hated how she kept calling her mommy. I was like, shut the fuck up.
I didn't feel that at all.
I did.
That's
Really?
weird. Yeah, I did not vibe on that.
Yeah, I was just like,
'Cause
no,
let's
I
face
don't
it.
think I would hold my mom like that. That's
No,
weird.
I would never hold my mom like that.
Let's face it, Tom's always looking for lesbian overtones.
Because they
Oh,
like,
yeah, baby.
they like hug and they embrace and then they don't pull away. They just like pull their heads away.
And they're still like touching and like
Yeah.
touching their boobs together.
It was really weird. Maybe we're just fucking
Did you guys-
sickos.
I think
I didn't
we
pick
are.
up on this at all.
Oh, I totally did. We need to rewatch it.
Brittany and I are lesbians. I think we've just established that I'm about to jump over this desk
And touch tits with Brittany over here.
and touch tits with Brittany.
Electra complex
Yes.
or wait, is it Oedipal if you're a woman?
Napoleon
Well-
complex.
Yes.
Right? That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Napoleon Complex. That's that movie with John Hader, right?
Yes. Eric, what about you for failures?
I think I've honestly covered most of my failures. I mean, the acting is poor, the editing is poor.
Yeah. Well, see,
It's kind of
I have a lot of questions.
yeah.
you,
No, I think that's right.
this is a great time for some questions.
You just look so puzzled. It reminded me that I had so many questions.
What? You look so
Movie.
It reminded me how confused I am.
Oh yeah, that's right. I watched a talkie today. Let's talk about it.
Like, what was the fridge's ultimate goal? Why was it trying to get them to fuck so
Here we
bad?
go. Here we go. I've thought about this.
Okay, you got a theory.
I think that the fridge maybe needed to accumulate blood, accumulate death, in order for it to make its hole that much shinier. You know what I'm talking about here?
Got that
Wait,
shiny
hold on,
hole.
Tom.
We all want a shiny hole.
Tom,
All
hold on.
lost.
Yes, Eric.
What?
I think the more people it killed and the more blood that it got,
The more powerful it would be?
it became, and the more people it could suck into it, and the more it could. Because by the end of the movie, and without giving away any potentially favorite parts, the possession of this fridge and the spirit of this infected the other appliances in this kitchen. So it grew. Like the more people it killed, the stronger it became. The more of a intrusive it became in people's lives.
But that doesn't really explain why it would want her to get pregnant. I mean, that's a real long con.
Does it want her to get pregnant?
I think so.
Why?
I think that's why the woman was warning her
Yes.
about not getting pregnant. Basically, she was like, "Don't reproduce."
She said, "Don't breed in shame."
Yeah.
Are you
And
sure that's just
then-
not woman to woman talk?
I don't think so. Because then Steve wakes her up in the middle of the night and brings her into the kitchen and opens the fridge, puts a fan in the fridge, is like, "Poor man's AC," ha ha ha. And then puts a blanket in front of the fridge so they can fuck.
And then he says, "Hold on, because this is one of my favorite parts. Here we go." What you
That
always
wasn't-
say before sex.
That wasn't Tom queuing you up for what he was going to say. That was actually just what he said.
Right.
Yeah, that was so baffling. And then it echoed back to what that lady said, kind of.
Yes.
'Cause
Do
she
not
had
breed in shame.
Previously just said, yeah, don't breed in shame.
Yeah, and then
Something like
the fridge started bleeding, and the blood started trickling down to almost infect Eileen with a little mini fridge in her belly.
Yeah, why did he want to conceive a mini fridge?
I mean, I guess that makes sense. I don't know.
Can I throw something in right away?
What do you got?
This movie reminded me of a short story by Stephen King that I really like a lot.
Which is
I don't recall the name of it or what book it's in, unfortunately.
The
but
Refrigerator by Stephen King.
No, it's a story about an old-timey laundromat that a bunch of women work in. And there's a machine that like wrings the clothes out. I think it might be called like the wringer or something.
Whoa.
But, yeah, it's a machine that wrings the wet clothes out that like a bunch of the women work on, and periodically different women like get injured on it and their blood goes into it inexplicably.
Did they make a movie about this too?
They might have. I'm
think
not
they did.
sure.
Yeah, it was called The Dead Zone.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes. But
Yeah.
So the blood goes into it?
yes, the blood goes into the machine and it's always the blood of virgins. And there's like a detective that like investigates, and you just never really and like
Does the
eventually
machine ever do anything?
eventually it like eats a lady. Like a lady gets like brought through it, and like it like eats her. Like she gets all broken up and dead.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gross.
I think I saw that once. I'm pretty sure I
It
did.
doesn't sound familiar to me.
I think I did.
But much like this movie, it didn't have any explanation, but it was still very enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, I started downloading a lot of my own theories into this movie, and just like, yo, this is trying to eat things to get more powerful, so I can suck more people into hell, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then like making people kill people.
At first, I didn't know if Steve was just a dickhead or if the fridge was making him behave that way.
I think he was just a dickhead.
I
I
think
kind of thought so too.
I don't think he was not. He was like so awesome. Even the first few days into this place, I definitely think it was the fridge.
I didn't find him awesome.
He was all right.
He was all right.
Eric?
I mean, I kind of wonder, like, it seems like this is a movie that had like a message on its mind, and I'm not 100% sure what it was.
The message was stab your husband and date Juan.
Yeah.
Run off to be a flamenco dancer.
So perfect.
So, I mean, I'm going to throw this out here, and maybe this is what the director was going for. But it seemed like there was some sort of like anti-white collar stuff going on here. You know, like the something in regards to like, okay, so Steve starts off as like he works at a restaurant, it seems like. So he's kind of working like a really like a blue collar job, for lack of a better word.
Then he turns into a corporate stooge.
He turns into a corporate stooge, and all of his consumerist goods are coming to attack him and his family.
Oh, shit.
And Juan, the blue collar hero, is here to save everybody.
Wow.
I
Very
think
interesting.
That is what the director is going for, but the rest of the movie is incomprehensible to me, so I don't know how to piece it all together.
I think he just hated appliances.
Maybe he does. Maybe he
might-
just had a shitty refrigerator that he hated.
Yeah, I mean that's very possible.
I'm so glad she ended up with Juan.
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah.
Halfway through the movie, we were just like, please.
Although I think you guys, I mean, I can't speak for Eric. I'm definitely getting from you guys you hated Steve.
Didn't like him. I just have to say.
I can empathize with Steve. You know, he's at work all day. He's putting in those hard cheese hours, and he's coming home to his wife with a couple of, you know, flowy Spanish men. And he's getting a little upset, and then all of a sudden she's getting crazier by the day, and he's coming home to a crazy wife.
True.
And like, I get it. She should be crazy. That fridge is nuts. But then, you know, she's demanding. She's like, get this fridge out of here. And he's like, whoa, baby, I took time off of work. I'm trying to give you these Valiums so you can shut up.
Jesus.
I just, you know, I don't think he's that
Not
bad.
painting him in the best light.
I don't think he's that bad. I get where he's coming from.
I feel like he was
got a lot of pressure.
escalating before she was, though.
I think, yeah, no, I buy that. But I mean, I
Listen.
feel like he was under a lot of pressure.
You would escalate quickly if you worked at the doo-doo eating office.
It's true.
I know, he wasn't getting anywhere.
I don't know why he'd leave that delicious cheese restaurant for a doo-doo brown job.
I know. Well, and Ohio. Well, I get why I left Ohio, but to New York. Okay.
I also
All right,
didn't
go.
get what they were implying about Eileen's mom.
She was trying to commit suicide when she was a kid, and then
With Eileen on
she
top of
stopped her. The daughter stopped her.
Okay, I didn't get if she was like legit trying to commit suicide or if she was just being like weirdly manipulative. I didn't understand what they were trying to do with that.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think they went deep enough for me to think that she was trying to manipulate her daughter to do stuff. I think that it was very face value. It was she tried to kill herself when the daughter was young, and
And she
Stab
just
herself in the
happens
chest.
to be overbearing and manipulative.
yes, I
That's
think-
the worst death I can think of.
What, stabbing yourself in the chest?
in the
No, why
chest.
would you do that?
on the kitchen floor.
Idiot.
Maybe she
Just
thought she
think, you got to
deserved it.
stain that linoleum.
I know. Linoleum is not easy to clean, despite what you may think.
I feel like the role of Steve's boss must have been like the weirdest part to read for.
Yeah,
They're like, all right, you're going to be a dickhead, and then you're just going to appear in a fridge in all the later scenes. Like 70% of you is going to be a tiny man in a refrigerator.
Wearing a
in a
very
dream.
luxurious robe.
do we have any more questions about the refrigerator or anything like that before we want to transition to favorite parts of this movie? Other scenes we can talk about?
So at the beginning of the movie,
Yeah.
when they're like walking through this apartment complex, we really only see what can only be described as a shirtless man pouring diarrhea into a toilet. What was he doing?
He was emptying out his shit bucket.
Did he work at the doo-doo factory and he was just taking his work home? Is that what
I
happened?
think it was like a bucket of paint water,
Yeah.
Okay.
but
Fair
it
enough.
was probably doo-doo.
Definitely doo-doo.
I had that very same note written at the top of my page. Just says man pouring liquid shit down toilet out of red bucket as one of the first things you see upon entering Eileen and Steve's new apartment.
An impressionistic painting.
That stuck out.
So maybe what it is like if you're constipated and you really got to take a shit, like that's what you do by proxy and it makes you feel better. So you just take liquid shit and you pour it into a toilet.
It's like a shit placebo.
This is among one of the dumbest conversations we've ever had.
Like when you hear running water and it makes you have to pee.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about some favorite parts then. What do we have? What do we got? Sounds like we have a lot.
The first thing I wrote down was flamenco dancing Super,
Yes.
who then turned into Juan that we know and love today. So we can just skip over that. But the trash can part was like the only other favorite part I had written.
At the end.
Yeah, so when the fridge begins to pulsate in power, which I don't understand why the trash can was included in this. It's not an electronic by any means.
I don't think it had to be electronic. I didn't
No,
get that.
no.
I just thought it started taking over.
It's real flimsy.
That's a good point.
So yeah, the fridge's power like pulsates out and like the fans in the house start going nuts and like flying everywhere and their like food processor goes insane. And the trash can, which has like one of those step lids, slides towards Juan's inexplicable friend.
That was interesting. Can we talk about that for one
Yes,
second?
yes,
What
yes.
was that guy?
Liz, good call on that one. Who the fuck is this guy?
Exactly. He just appeared in the 11th hour of the movie.
No name.
No name. Clearly a friend of Juan, I thought. That was really the only thing I got about him because At one point, I believe when the trash can came to life, he exclaimed, "Hey Juan, look at this thing."
Yeah, and he was like amazed.
Yes.
Like the trash can slid towards him, hit him in the leg, and opened, and he was like, "Oh my god!" And then for some fucking reason, sticks his leg inside the trash can because that would be an appropriate response to what is happening at the moment.
When I see an open trash can, I just want to stick my leg in it.
Yeah. So then the trash can bites his leg off at the knee, and then he pulls out a bloody stump and is just like screaming and hopping around.
I enjoyed that a lot.
It was the best part of the whole
I
movie.
think that guy's only purpose, as you said, Tom, was because they had a really good idea for a death scene and not enough people. So they just threw in a random guy who was clearly just a friend of Juan, who was just with him in the apartment that day.
Yeah, well, and you know
We
what?
need one person to get their leg eaten by a trash can.
Well, and then to continue on that, how he truly died, because that's not how he died. We also see two of their fans come to
Yes.
life. They start flying around the room to helicopter noises. And
Yes.
then when that man hits the ground, they start slicing into his face.
Yep.
Great effects. And,
I like that a
and
lot.
that was how he died. And yeah, that was fantastic. And I also want to add that how awful I feel for Juan losing all of his friends.
I
to
wish
the bridge.
anyone could see how indignant Tom looks right now.
Well, I feel bad for Juan. I mean, he lost Paolo. He lost this guy.
Lost all the goo.
Juan is really the only likable character
It's well you
In
know,
any movie.
that you feel anything for.
But you know what? In the end, it all worked out because him and Eileen became flamenco dancers together and got to live out their dream fridgeless.
Called it.
I really didn't like Eileen, though.
No,
didn't?
she sucked.
Lightning
Everyone
wasn't
in this
good.
movie but Juan sucked.
Yeah, no, she wasn't good. Eric, what about you for favorite parts?
Speaking of Eileen, Eileen's supposed to be an actress,
Yes.
and we are given very early in the movie a 30-second like acceptance speech of her, imagining she's winning like an Academy Award or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was a Tony, first of
a
all.
Tony. Okay,
What?
yeah. Sorry.
It's 1991.
It's almost as if I wasn't paying attention because she was holding a Bud Heavy can as if it was a fucking Oscar,
Yes.
and that's how you know this movie was from 1991 because that was the last time anyone drank Bud Heavy.
But they did have a couple of Rolling Rocks in the fridge, which I appreciated as well.
I actually, that's another note that I had towards the top of my paper was my description of the couple's worst husband ever, married to delusional aspiring actress.
Yes,
That pretty
nailed
much
it.
wraps up their relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have any favorite parts?
I did. Well, I mentioned the fan part, the whole appliance end scene, everything coming to life there when that fridge became all powerful was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that a lot. That was a great payoff for a build-up that was not like it was extra slow, but I was definitely waiting.
Yeah.
I was definitely waiting for the big part, and they gave me enough to enjoy along the ride, and then when it came to the end...
Yeah, because we pretty much only got to see
great.
the fridge in action for that one kill. Every other time it was just like a quick flash and it was gone.
Well, they kind of like brawled a couple times where it was kind of moving around the kitchen. It fought the mom. It fought Paolo. It was all right.
Got some good refrigerator fistfights.
Exactly.
I love that Juan lassoed the refrigerator door with what appeared to be a toilet snake.
Yes.
That was pretty great.
Yeah.
Creative use of a toilet snake.
Yep.
Also, Juan always had that like L-shaped pipe hanging
Dude,
from his belt.
what was that?
That just always looked like an erect dick.
That cock pipe? I
Yes.
wrote dick pipe so huge.
At one point, I
Wow.
thought Eileen was gonna put her mouth on it when she was sitting on the couch and he was just standing in front of her.
I know
and
you're talking about.
And it
The
was
dick
just
pipe was
bulging.
right in her face.
She was right at dick pipe level.
Yes,
I don't know what it was attached to.
his
but
belt.
Well, he had a
It was
pretty...
attached to his cock.
Obvious.
It's like the popcorn trick. Inside the pipe is his dick.
Oldest plumber trick in the book.
The old dick in the pipe gag.
He was wearing a very large utility belt.
He was.
Yes.
It was pretty awesome, actually.
so baffling.
I like that.
Can I add two things that I liked about it?
Yeah.
No! Of course, Liz. You
Here
don't
to
have to
talk
ask.
about this movie.
This is literally just like a detail that I just really liked.
Oh, great.
One of the very first things that Steve ever said to Eileen in the movie was, "You old kissing fish, you." And then his last words were, "Swim away, my little kissing fish." And I just really thought that was fucking ridiculous.
He was pretty fucking
And then he
dumb.
started
Yes.
doing like fish face when he was dying a little bit.
I was like, what is that supposed to be, a kiss or like
A fish.
Are you just the worst fucking human alive?
Leave Steve alone.
I will
Even
not.
in death, you're horrible.
Right?
Oh, man.
I didn't get why he was calling her a kissing fish.
Because that was their thing. He kept calling her babe too, and every time he said babe, I did cringe.
Babe. Anytime anyone says babe, I cringe, to be
Right,
fair.
That is true. It's a very good point.
What's up, babe? It just reminds me of that episode of The Office
I know. Didn't
where they're
notice.
passive aggressively calling each other babe all night.
And Liz, what was your second thing?
Let me see. I think Tom, I think that was really just one thing that I wanted to add, and not two things. Oh well, I did feel throughout the whole movie that it was directed by high school students. Like that's a feel that I got for it. They had it just felt like it was directed by somebody who had no idea what real life was actually like based on the different things that were happening in it, such as the scene when Eileen and Steve go into that liquor store to buy booze, and Juan and his friends are just standing in a group together drinking beer in the middle of the store and just looking like menacing but also sexy.
That's what you're getting.
Well, I mean, we've had this discussion before. Menacing is a friendly neighbor of sexy.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yes, exactly. Well, I mean, now that you talk about the director, he has gone on to direct a few episodes of The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
What?
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense.
I saw that and I went, I'm not surprised. But yeah, he doesn't have a ton of stuff going on. And actually, also talking about director, the producer of this movie, it was named Christopher Oldcorn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Was actually the person, we watched this on YouTube in 9 parts.
Yep. Sure
and
did.
The person who uploaded this claims to be the producer of the movie, Christopher Oldcorn. So I don't feel that bad about watching it on YouTube. Although it's in 9 parts and 10-minute chunks, dude. It's 2016. Why don't you do a re-upload on that movie?
So it's no longer in crisp 240p.
Yeah, exactly. And I actually also really want to mention too.
It could have been worse.
So
Yes.
It wasn't that bad.
It could have been worse, but also, so it was in 9 parts, and very quickly, I just want to go through the numbers on those 9 parts in 6 years. Part 1 had 14,000, right? So you assume, oh wow, 14,000 people watch this movie. Wrong. Part two, we have over a 50% loss at 6,000. Part 3 is at 4,000. Part 4 is at 3,000.
amazing.
Part 5 is at 3,000 as well. Part 6, though, 18,000. There must be a really cool part that I don't remember. And then we're down to 2,000, and then the very last part is at 12,000. So I can only assume that 2,000 people finished this movie.
Yeah.
Out of the potential 20+ thousand who could have watched at any given time.
That's bizarre.
Right? And we're one of those 2,000, so be proud. We did all of them, all
The
9
few,
parts.
the proud, the refrigerator.
To be fair, we looked everywhere else for this before we checked YouTube.
We really tried. But no, I don't feel bad at all. Any other favorite parts before we want to rate? Any other things we want to talk about?
I really liked the soundtrack. I thought the soundtrack was well done.
Yes.
Just want to throw that in there. 'cause it's
Soundtrack
on my
was good.
list.
I don't remember anything about it. I
liked
remember
it.
pretending to play
It's
an organ
appropriate.
at one point, but that's about it.
It was always appropriate. It was very much like Meet the Applegates, where it was that wacky comedy score sometimes, but then they also chose good music tracks to accompany it as well.
Yes.
We had like a lot of the Hispanic influence. We had like some salsa music, but then there was like weird like non-copyright infringing AC/DC tracks.
Yes. Yes.
And then like classic 60s kind of vibe going on at some points. You know,
yeah,
it all worked.
I think it all worked. It was definitely one of the more competent parts of the movie. All right, so is it rating time?
I think so.
All right. So let's rate it then.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Yeah,
fuck
I'm gonna
you.
have to give it an unfortunate fuck off.
Oh my god, my fucking father.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right, guys, let's rate The Refrigerator from 1991. And because this is your first time around, Liz, I'm just going to explain the fuck scale to you so that you can appropriately rate this movie and we
Yes,
can count
thank
it. So if you hated this movie and it was absolutely awful, you never want to see it again, you give it a fuck you. If you think it was okay, whatever, I'm not going to remember it, but it wasn't awful, you give it a fuck off. If you loved it and you're going to recommend it to everyone you've ever met, you're going to give it a fuck yeah. Or you can give it a what the fuck if you don't know what the hell happened, or basically just say the word fuck with an emotion and you're good to go.
Okay.
So if you want to start, Liz, you can go ahead and start.
I give it a what the fuck / fuck yeah.
Okay, so some sort of what the fuck yeah. I think we've heard that before
I think we have.
in the past. So
Yeah.
so why do you give it that rating?
Well, like I said, there was a lot of points in the movie where I was kind of confused about where the plot was going and like various details that didn't make any sense and weren't elaborated upon. So that's where I would say, what the fuck? But also, fuck yeah, in that I thought the comedy was very well done. And it was just an enjoyable movie to watch and appreciate as being a bad movie.
Yeah.
It was definitely a good movie to watch in a group.
For sure, yeah.
Because we laughed pretty hard.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a lot of entertainment as a crowd on this one. And I think I'm going to give this movie a fuck yes. So just one click below a fuck yeah. Because I was also annoyed by a couple of the details that didn't make sense to me. So, like, I was frustrated with the timeline between, like, some of those cross dissolves, but I was totally on board for a trash can that ate someone's leg. Like, and I feel like that's the movie's fault. Like, you could have made one of those make a little more sense, because I believe the other part, you just could have maybe done that on the other side.
Yeah.
But, man, what a great time. It was fun. I think if I see this, I might buy it. I don't know if it's available on DVD. It might be at VHS-PS.
Yes.
Definitely seems like it's their territory, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because we're going to be at Rock and Shock in a couple weeks, so definitely going to hit him up and see what we can get.
Hopefully he's there.
He might be there. I don't know. I'll talk to him.
I'm going to piggyback on your fuck yes.
Okay.
Because it was super fun to watch. For all its flaws, it was still really enjoyable experience. And anyone who likes B movies or just like bad movies, I would definitely recommend this too, because it was ridiculous enough to watch at least one time.
Yes, and I want to also say that I think I liked this more than, sorry Brittany, a couple of your horror comedy picks. God damn it. Like Slimeball, Bolorama.
Oh, definitely.
Girlfriend from Hell, and Flesh Eating Mothers. This was way better than all of those.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I mean, this is so much in the Meet the Applegates territory.
It's like Meet the Applegates meets Deathbed, the bed that eats.
Yeah, it's also very Deathbeddy.
Betty.
But yeah, I would recommend it for sure. Eric, what do you got?
I'm going to give it a what the fuck, and pretty much for all the reasons that were presented here, especially Meet the Applegates meets Deathbed. That's kind of the vibe I got from this. It's a very weird movie, because when I heard that it's about a refrigerator that eats people, I was expecting more of that and less of what we got, I guess. I don't know. It's a very strange movie. I do think it would make a really good intro to bad movies movie.
Okay.
Like, if we want to say, hey, if you want to see like a weird early 90s B movie comedy / horror, this is a pretty good one to go with, I think. It's pretty accessible. It's got like really broad, weird strokes. You know, the acting is bad, but it's like recognizably bad and fun bad.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, that's kind of an important distinction to make between, you know, just bad acting that's not fun to watch and bad acting that is really fun to watch. You know, there's no way you can deliver I Am the Waffle Maker as a good actor.
So good.
Like,
That's right. I want that to be one of my favorite parts. The guy wakes up in like a dead nightmare, screams, "I'm the waffle maker," goes into the kitchen. That's a Steve we're talking about, and starts making waffles.
Yes.
and he doesn't finish making the waffles. He just eats raw waffle mix with an egg mixed in
Fucking
it.
some reason.
Because the fridge has got a hold of his brain. Man. The fridge is fucking with him. But yeah, actually, I was going to ask you guys, like, with the Deathbed, the bed that eats, and the refrigerator, what do you think? I think this movie is way more comedic. I think this movie was way more shooting for intentional laughs, where I think Deathbed was, I think, trying to be just more absurd and 70s.
I think
what was that,
Deathbed
79?
was funnier.
Whoa, do you?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think it
at
was
all.
because it didn't know what it was doing.
Yeah, it wasn't in on the
It
joke.
wasn't trying to be funny.
Well,
and
no.
that's why it was hilarious.
I think Deathbed at times was trying to be funny.
I don't think it was.
I think it was. It has to have. Like, some of the
Dude,
things they
skeleton
pulled.
hens.
Well, maybe that wasn't intended to be as funny as we thought it was, but there were some other parts where it was definitely supposed to be funny.
where Uncle Tony is shooting the bed.
Yeah. But I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I like this more than Deathbed.
I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Liz, have you seen Deathbed?
I have not. That's why I'm sitting here not saying anything. And like, I'm kind of sad that I can't join in with the conversation.
Man, we
that you
need
guys
to
are
watch it
having.
at some point.
We can watch
After
Deathbed.
a lot of drinks some evening.
I would like to watch it.
That'd be great. Yeah.
Deathbed's fun.
So any final thoughts? Anything you just want to really quickly say about the movie before we wrap ourselves up here?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good as well.
All right. Fantastic.
I would just like to mention how many Juan true love jokes we made at the end of this movie.
Did make a lot of those really quickly. I'm proud of us. We were hitting them out of the park.
That'll be all.
Yeah, that's all. All right, so yeah, that's it. Liz, thanks for coming on for your first episode. Liz Moniz.
Thanks for having me,
Yes.
guys.
Yes, our professional comedian, so hopefully you were funnier than all of us.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so.
I think so.
You sound really confident.
Maybe I was here. Maybe I wasn't.
Yeah.
Yep.
So are you doing professional comedy anywhere coming up?
Right now, I don't have any dates coming up other than a fundraiser that I'm doing at the Comedy Connection on October 9th. But honestly, I don't even know what the fundraiser is for or anything like that. So I can't say, like, if you want to support this cause, come out to this fundraiser or anything like that.
Could be for Nazis.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah,
knows.
might be. But if you want to see more of me, you could always come out to that fundraiser.
And that's Comedy Connection in East Providence, Rhode Island.
If you
Yes.
want to see me really try to be funny and not just having like a discussion with my friends.
Of course. But yeah, unfortunately, I think most of the people who listen are not from around here.
So if you want to drive all the way from California to go see 10 minutes of stand-up,
Or Australia. I'm talking to you, Bad Movie Sunday.
I'm
Come
just
up
gonna
here to
say,
Providence.
yeah, don't come all the way from California just to see me because I'm not that good.
Oh, Liz, hush. You're funny.
Humble to a fault.
Look me up on YouTube under Liz Moniz Comedy.
Yeah, not Liz Cupertino like I fucked up in the beginning.
Right, that was my maiden name.
Sorry, Andrew. You claimed that one and I took it away.
That's all right.
he claimed that one.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. All right. If you'd like more information on Second Class Cinema, you can head on to Facebook, facebook.com/Second Class Cinema. You can listen to our show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, secondclasscinema.com, and followingfilms.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter at Second Class Cinema and at Second Class Podcast. Email us at secondclasscinema@gmail.com if you have any movies you'd like us to watch.
Oh, we get our ads for prednisone.
God damn it, I was just going to say that. I stopped because I thought you were going to say something important.
No.
No. And yeah, that's it.
One more time.
Boom, 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 boom.